Well, today is May 6th, 2012, and we're continuing with the secrets of Zohar Ha Kadosh. We're still in Bereshit, and will be for some time. We'll be in Genesis for a long time. Last class, we talked about the Erev Rav. If you'll remember, the Erev Rav were the intruders who infiltrated among the people of Israel when they left Egypt over 3,600 years ago. And we saw that there were 5 categories of these intruders. We'll repeat them now. The Nephilim, Giborim, Raphaim, Anakim, and Amalekites. Well, we'll continue with this topic in this class. The Zohar has a prophecy, and it says that in the Messianic era, all souls of the Erev Rav will be eradicated from the face of the earth, totally exterminated. And of all these 5 categories, the worst were the Amalekites. It says that redemption will come with the extermination of the Amalekites, those that come from the tribe of Amalek. We saw that Amalek had the same numerology as the word safek, which means doubt. That is, they are those thoughts that sow doubt in the mind of man, that curse him and cast the evil eye on him. That is the source of great suffering for all humanity. So it says that the day when the souls of the Amalekites are exterminated will be a solemn day, on which, blessed be his name, Akadosh Baruch Hu, creates heaven and earth. That is, heaven will join Shekhinah, and the world will be saved. It also says that before this extermination of Amalekites is complete, this category of souls, esoteric doctrine will not fall over Israel. It says that Israel, it compares Israel to a plant and trees that cannot grow. That is, there is no fruit or greenery or plants or trees if the esoteric doctrine does not come down to the people of Israel. What is esoteric doctrine? It is the Kabbalah. That is, these evil spirits that inhabit earth can populate the earth while there is no Kabbalah. But when there is Kabbalah, this type of evil souls will be exterminated. So, we will see a vocabulary expression from the Zohar where it says that the scepter of Yehudah will designate the blessed
Mashiach.
The blessed
Mashiach.
And this is called the scepter of Yehudah. Now, we'll see a name of God that offsets, compensates for the Amalekites. We have said that, and I will write it here, Amalek, which is an evil spirit that sows doubt, has the same numerical value as safek, which means doubt. Amalek has the same numerical value as safek. And there is a name of God with the same numerical value that destroys him. Do you know the name of God, one of the 72 names of God, that annuls doubt in people's spirits? It is the name Ayin Resh Yud, or Ari. Ayin Resh Yud, pronounced Ari. In the table of the 72 names of God. We will see them now. Here they say it's number 46. If you would confirm that, please. Here are the 72 names of God. This is it. Ayin Resh Yud. This one defeats Amalek. We'll meditate on it later. There's another expression from the Zohar that is important to write down in your Zohar vocabulary list. It is that the source or the spring from which just or righteous souls descend to the earth is called the just living in all eternity. The just living in all eternity is the fountain from which our Creator takes the souls of the Sadakim. This is the spring, and the just is called the plant in the fields. Why is it called thus? Because the plant is written in Hebrew Siyah, Siyach, and I will write it. It's a Shin, Yud, and Het. Siyach, this is a plant representing the Zadakim. It is divided into two. The Shin, as you see, has 3 vertical lines that represent the patriarchs Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. And we have the letters Yud and Het, which if read backwards read Chai, life. So with the strength of the 3 patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov, life descends to this world. And if the just is called plant, Kabbalah is called rain. Why? Because the nourishment of the just is Kabbalah, the holy sacrament. That is what they feed on. What's interesting about this nourishment? Because the Kabbalah transmutes the Safek into certainty. That is, it transmutes doubt into certainty. It transmutes the evil of the body into chesed, into goodness. It transmutes pain into harmony. It transmutes war into redemption. It transmutes death into life. That is the effect of Kabbalah on people, and above all, on the just. And that is what is called rain. We know that in this world, and this is an interesting metaphor, in this world plants can't survive without the water of rain. Man, therefore, cannot live without the rain of the esoteric doctrine, in which this doctrine feeds the soul and makes all bad transmute into good. Why is there chaos in the world? Why is there chaos in the world? Because the Kabbalah is not being disseminated or spread. We have just seen how the Zohar Ha Kadosh says that Kabbalah turns Safek into certainty, evil into Hesed, goodness, pain into harmony, war to redemption, and death into life. Until the Kabbalah is disseminated, we will have doubt, evil, pain, war, and death. With the dissemination of the Kabbalah, what will we have? Certainty, goodness, harmony, redemption, and life, the absolute opposite. That explains the importance of teaching the Kabbalah. We saw how our motto on the website KabbalahMashiach.com, our motto is that the problems of this world are resolved in the spiritual world. If we're capable of taking blessings through the channels that go from the spiritual to the material world, we can transform this world. Now, the question is, how can this be transformed? What mechanism enables us to, thanks to the Kabbalah, transform chaos into harmony? Now, I'll give you another quantum physics class to follow the quantum physics class on the Mashiach that we had last week, I believe it was, or more, some 10 days ago. I told you how the void that exists between the electrons and protons and neutrons and between the atoms is very large in space, and that void is an electromagnetic intelligent energy. It is pure consciousness. We talked about how our physical body is very small compared to that void. That is, if we condensed all the atoms in our body, they would not even cover a pin's head. And that void that is left is also electromagnetic energy. In truth, matter does not exist. What gives us the illusion of matter is a condensation of energy, condensed, concentrated, slow vibration energy. So that is matter. Concentrated, slow vibration energy. What is pure energy? Dissolved, rapid vibration energy. If we want to break matter down, or at least the perception of matter, we must dissolve energy instead of condensing it and put it into a faster frequency. The opposite gives the illusion of being solid to the touch. But in truth, it's all energy. In reality, we are an intelligent, electromagnetic machine in the service of global consciousness. Why? Because our consciousness is interrelated with the cosmic consciousness and interrelated with electromagnetic fields of Earth, which also have their own consciousness. So we merge with cosmic consciousness, with human consciousness, and with the Earth's consciousness. And all these three forms of consciousness are but one thing. Now then, what I wanted to talk to you about is that to transmute bad into good, we can depend on the cosmic consciousness, or the earth consciousness, or the consciousness of others. Then it would be a passive dependence. But we can also be proactive, and with our directed consciousness, which is what we do in meditation, we can influence the cosmic, earthly, and human consciousness over all. So, what does Kabbalah teach us? It teaches us the codes and techniques of meditation, so that instead of being passive subjects of all these consciousnesses that surround us, we can be proactive to influence in the consciousnesses that surround us. That is, we influence them instead of them influencing us. Is there anyone who doesn't understand this example? You say there's an influence of ours on the cosmic consciousness, cosmic energy? Do you mean the planets? The divine consciousness, the divine matrix, all the ether that we have around us, which is empty, acts like a reflection of how we think. If we think with fear, the cosmic consciousness will have a reaction on the earthly and human consciousnesses and the consciousness of the planet Earth. If we think with love, there will be another type of reaction. Our own DNA, when we're afraid, our DNA contracts and conveys very few photons, very little light. Our DNA, at the end of the day, is made up of channels of light, photonic light. When we're afraid, it contracts, so it is a channel with little light. When we love, our DNA stretches out, gives more light, and more possibilities to reach levels of well-being that would be impossible otherwise. So, fear, which generates stress and all kinds of defects of human qualities, contracts our DNA. If we meditate to loosen, so to speak, or relax our DNA, we will have a flow of light that is much more significant in our being, a much higher consciousness, and more capacity for well-being for us and our surroundings. Whether our DNA contracts or stretches has great influence on the photonic light around us. Here, I'm referring to cosmic consciousness, and it also influences all earthly consciousness. It all depends on the contraction or expansion of our DNA, acting in fear or love. Do you understand? It does sound complicated, doesn't it? That is, it all depends on us. If we act in a robotic way, anything will frighten us. We will be participants in the stress of the world. And there are always genocides, wars, disease, economic crises, abuses, etc. in the world. So we will be participants in that worldly stress, pain, and chaos. And we will simply be robots. We will be robotized by worldly stress. If we say no, instead of worldly stress, we will influence to take stress away from the world. We will use the keys of the Kabbalah, the names of God. We will meditate on them. We will use our electromagnetic energy that we will project into the cosmos, and the cosmos will react. And then it will rain blessings, because now it's raining chaos. That means that we can be passive subjects or proactive agents, acting on behalf of the good for humanity, the world, divine consciousness, because it will be a reflection of our behavior. The difference between people who live in stress around the world and us is that we have the Hebrew letters and the letters of the celestial alphabet, the alphabet of Metatron, that amplify our mental power a great deal. With this amplifier, we can offset all the stress in the world. It is very important to know the name of God that offsets stress. Does anyone know the name of God that offsets stress? They are the initials of one of the verses of
אנא בכוח, יחיד גאה לעמך פני זוכרי קדושתך.
Yud, Gimel, Lamed, Pe, Zayin, Kuf. And I will write it down so you can see it. I'm getting to it. I won't leave you waiting. Don't worry. This name gives in Hebrew the concept of nachat ruah, spiritual peace, inner peace, because there are people who, even though they have no problems, are in a state of great inner tension and they don't know why. This is the name that amplifies our electromagnetic power at the worldwide level for inner peace. It is Yud Gimel Lamed Pe Zayin Kuf. Yud Gimel Lamed Pe Zayin Kuf. Then you can tell where I'm heading. Today we will meditate Ain Resh Yud to do away with doubt. And then we will meditate Yud Gimel Lamed Pe Zayin Kuf to generate spiritual serenity, spiritual peace. This is the one from
אנא בכוח, יחיד גאה לעמך פני זוכרי קדושתך.
the other one is the name of God that I showed you on the chart. This one. This one. Ain Resh Yud. This one gives certainty, and the other, spiritual serenity. And the Zohar tells us that the
צדיק,
are the plants, and it defines one particular plant, grass. Zadik are called grass. Why? Because the Hebrew word for grass is eser, and this name contains a Kabbalistic secret. Eser. This symbolizes the
צדיק,
why. Because the Shin, what does the Shin represent? I already said it, the three patriarchs. With what? With Ayin.
Bet.
What is Ayin?
Bet.
Ayin is worth 70, Bet 2, 72. That is the power of the 72 names. The mysteries that Moshe Rabbeinu, understood. No one could reveal, disclose, or understand them. And that is why, much later, after his death, Moshe Rabbeinu, the Zohar tells us, presented himself from another dimension, disembodied, came to this earth, and appeared before Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai to reveal to him the secrets he discovered in the Torah. The book of Exodus 40, verse 38, speaks of a cloud that Akadosh Baruch Hu caused to stay over the tabernacle. That cloud is called Ed, Aleph Dalit, and it represents the secrets of the Kabbalah. What was it called? Ed, Aleph Dalit. And Kabbalists must feed from that cloud to prepare the redemption of Israel. And then it says the following. In Genesis, Akadosh Baruch Hu said to Adam, to not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That was a prohibition. Then there was another similar prohibition that he gave to Moshe Rabbeinu, to Moses. He said, when you leave Egypt, do not take the intruders. We've seen them. They are the Erev Rav in their 5 categories that we've already discussed. The instruction he gave to the first man, Adam Arishon, to not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and the instruction he gave to Moshe Rabbeinu is exactly the same instruction, according to Zohar Ha Kadosh. The tree of knowledge of good and evil is the Erev Rav, the intruders. Do not approach the intruders. But since they did approach them, and ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Later, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu, don't take the Erev Rav. They were already on earth. Leave them in Egypt. But he did take them. And because of these two transgressions of God's instructions that were not respected, all the chaos of the world came. What does the
Mashiach
come to this world to do? The Mashiach. What will he come to do? To correct the instructions not followed by Adam, the first man, and not followed by Moshe Rabbeinu, to bring the Erev Rav to this world. What will the Mashiach come to do? To eliminate, eradicate the Erev Rav from this world. All these negative spirits we've classified into the 5 categories. So, humanity will be like a vine that no other kind of intruder can cling to. And it tells us that it is by clinging to the Shekhinah that Israel will recover its freedom and its redemption. What did we say the Shekhinah was? We said it was that entire electromagnetic, intelligent, divine consciousness. If we learn to connect with it, redemption of humanity will come. How can we connect with it? Not with the 5 senses, but by meditation and the codes of the Kabbalah. But we have also seen that the Shekhinah represents the physical world, Malchut. I already said so, didn't I? And what was Malchut? 2 things. 1, what comes out of your mouth, which is what materializes thought. And another, what comes out of the reproductive organ, which is what materializes procreation, what fulfills be fruitful and multiply. That is what procreates. That is, with our lips we create, and with our sexual organs we procreate. We create and procreate. Both things are the Shekhinah. Adhering to the Shekhinah is what is called in Hebrew Tikkun Aberit. In other words, the repair of what is materialized, what creates and what procreates. That is, the rectification of what comes out of our mouths and what is procreated with our reproductive organs. So how is it repaired? How is it repaired? For now, you should have realized that we don't create anything holy with our mouths, because criticizing or defaming our neighbors is an international sport. I wouldn't say national, but an international pastime. Putting down our fellow man is totally contrary to love thy neighbor. And then, by procreation, what we're actually doing is to mock the Creator. Why? Because we're wasting our procreative capacity in or the spilling of semen. That requires repair. And only the Kabbalah gives you the techniques to perform the repair, the Tikkun Adibur, the rectification of speech, and Tikkun Aberit, the repair of procreation. Tikkun means to repair. With what should we repair what comes out of the mouth? With what? Only the Kabbalah gives us the resources. What comes out of the mouth is repaired with a code called Yud Hafshin. That also comes from the
Ana Bechoach.
Yud, Haf, Shin. This code repairs the Shekhinah of the lips. That is the materialization of thought, because words materialize thought. Yud, Haf, Shin.
ייחודיך כבבת שומרים. ייחודיך כבבת שומרים.
Those are the initials.
Ana Bechoach Gedulat Imnir Katatsisura, Kaber Rinata Mecha Sagavinutarin Nora, Nagi Bordorshe, Yehudecha Kevavat Shombrem.
It is the third verse.
Yehudecha Kevavat Shombrem.
Now we're going to see the Tikkun Aberit. Tikkun Aberit is rectified with a name called Chet Bet Vav. We also have it in the table. Chet Bet Vav. Chokmah Bina Vadat. We have it on the board. Look. Chokmah Bina Vadat. Chet Bet Vav. This rectifies the loss of semen. That generates evil spirits that can only be destroyed with another name, which is Bet Yud Tet. Bet Yud Tet. Bet Yud Tet. What was that last name for? Bet Yud Tet. To destroy the evil forces created from the loss of semen. Why? Because evil forces do not have a life of their own. They must steal life from man. When man loses his semen. When men spill or lose their semen, they feed negative energies that do not have their own life. They steal it from man. When man wastes it, then they grow in size. What repairs this distortion is this name, Bet Yud Tet. So we have Yud Haf Shin to repair the Shekhinah of the mouth, and Chet Bet Vav for the loss of semen, and Bet Yud Tet to offset the evil spirits created from this action. And so, we must unite the world of above with that of below. To unite the world of above and that of below, in other words, open the taps of blessings from the world of above in the world of below, we must perform not only Tikkun Aberit, but this also repairs. But when we repair, we must rectify. We must have correct conjugal relations. And when do we have correct conjugal relations? When the taps are open. When is that? On Shabbat, Friday night,
Ad Chatzot.
at 2 or 3 in the morning. That is when the taps are open. Okay, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll do the meditation. Does anyone have any questions? I don't want to overload you because there are many keys here. It's very dense. The Zohar is very dense. Do these evil spirits have to do with us? They exist for that reason. The Amalekites and all that? Of course. If Adam hadn't eaten the fruit of the tree, the Erev Rav would not exist on earth. It's as if you get infected by something, a virus. Then it spreads to all humanity. You've caught a virus. That is, the two beings that have had direct contact with the Erev Rav are Adam Arishon and Moshe Rabbeinu. Both of them. And both of them disobeyed instructions from God. We said that
Ein Resh Yud.
is the key to have certainty. and to fight against Safek, that is, against Amalek. And Yud Gimel Lamed Pe Zayin Kuf is to have
Nachat Ruach.
spiritual peace. Later, we will begin the meditation. We will meditate on one key and then another. The second key or code, for that we will form a choir, and we will put the world in the middle. But you know that our meditation technique has changed since the last time we did it. Now, we form a golden thread that links up all the hearts. We say the word Echad to merge the electromagnetic fields of the hearts. And when we have achieved what we wanted to achieve with the meditation, we will say the word Vadai. Do you remember? What word? It means, of course, it's done. That we've already achieved what we wanted to do. So now let's close our eyes and take 3 deep breaths. Now we see a golden thread, the color of a sun ray that crosses through our hearts, uniting them with this thread. And the thread moves counterclockwise. And we see how it links all the hearts together, making a pearl necklace, but of hearts, with this golden thread. A golden energy, like that of the sun. Now we will say Echad.
Echad.
Again.
Echad.
Again.
Echad.
Now we see ourselves inside a Star of David, a Magen David, and we have another Star of David as a screen, and the letter Ayin appears. I point to it now with my finger. Ayin is presented as a white letter. We light it. Then we see the letter Resh. We light it. And we call the letter Yud, and we light it. We merge the 3 flames into a single flame that will come from the golden Star of David that is like a screen before us. It burns from the upper tip of the star. It is attracted by our Star of David, and it will enter through our skulls, lighting up the brain, goes down to the heart, lights up the heart, and goes down to the liver, lighting up the liver, and goes back up to the heart, and back up to the brain, and goes back down to the heart, and goes up to the brain, heart, 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 brain. We project it through the skull, and it forms a cloud of bright white light, and flakes of light are falling all around us, magnetizing our aura with the force of this name that eliminates all doubts from our entire being. Now we form a choir, we put the earth in the middle, and we will project this light of certainty onto the earth. And from our hearts, a ray of white light is emitted toward the earth, from our hearts to the earth, generating a halo, an atmosphere of white light of certainty, dispelling all doubt, We see how doubt is a black energy that cannot stand this light and flees from the earth. Now, in another Star of David, we will call the letters Yud Gimel Lamed Pe Zayin Kuf. We call Yud, we light it. We call the letter Gimel, we light it. We call the letter Lamed, we light it. We call the letter Pe, we light it. We call the letter Zayin, we light it. We call the letter Kuf, we light it. Now, we will use those wicks of light, like candle wicks, to merge all the lights into a central braid of light that goes toward the screen of the Star of David and is attracted toward our Star of David, entering through the upper tip and coming down to our brains, lighting them up, going down to the heart, lighting them up, going down to the liver, lighting it up. Now we have our brains, hearts, and livers lit, and 3 rays of light will come out of our foreheads, hearts, and livers toward the earth. These are lights of well-being and calm and spiritual peace, and we will project it toward earth, and we form another shield of protection and spiritual peace with a new atmosphere, which this time is violet. The color violet, and it impregnates the entire earth. Now we see how people no longer have stress, anxiety. We see how it has been achieved, and we say Vadai.
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 It worked.
Vadai.
Vadai.
Again.
Vadai.
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 As we have done the work, we will take 3 deep breaths. Again. Again. And we open our eyes. Now we're working here, that's for sure. This is serious work. Well, that made my hair stand up like a cat's with the word echad. My hair was standing on end. I did notice a lot of feeling with the support of the words being sung, and with Vadai as well. It makes my hair stand up. It generates even a physical effect and gives much more strength to the meditations compared to the ones we used to do. That is, we have raised our level with the repetitive mantra. The strength of the work is much greater. And the concept of seeing the result achieved, that gives it an even more powerful effect than what we achieved before. We're improving our technique a great deal. So, since the world is going through tremendous stress right now due to threats of war, crises, devaluations, conflict, shortages of all kinds, we have to lower the tone of this stress. I think we've achieved it. The media will tell us in the near future. But I'm convinced, I'm telling you more about what our work consists of and how much we can influence the electromagnetic energy of the earth, of humans, of us, and even divine energy. That God reflects our state of consciousness. God is like a shadow that reflects us. I think we have harmonized just now with God, with our essence, and with the essence of the earth and human beings. We've harmonize together to do good. And I think we're doing something that is priceless. It is priceless. I don't think there's enough money in the world to pay for an electromagnetic work such as what we've just done. And that's it.